Hi everyone, my name is Yurso, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be looking at the new AntMiner V9s from Bitmain. These AntMiners were recently released to the public not too long ago, and I just wanted to look into them and see if they're actually going to be profitable for us. So there's two options that they have. There's a $345 option and a $291 option. The only difference between these AntMiners is the amount of minimum orders you must order. So for the 291, you must order at least 10 units, and for the $345 one, you must order at least 5 units. So if you're looking for a big bulk purchase, obviously the AntMiner V9 for 10 units for $291 is obviously the way to go. But in this case, for most people who are looking into getting mining, I think most people are going to aim for this one specifically because it ships in March and you don't have to pay as much, and your investment will be much smaller. So which is why I think most people are going to aim for the $345 one. To get into if it's actually profitable, well, there are some factors to look into. So one of them is the actual market itself. Currently, looking at Bitcoin, we're seeing that it is doing a pretty good so far. It seems to be recovering quite nicely from the crash. For the most part, if we just look at the graph right here, once it loads, yeah, we can see that it is now recovering pretty well. It is $11,000 right now, and it hit a low of $6,000. So obviously it is making an incredible comeback. I would suspect something like Bitcoin Cash is doing something very similar as well. I think that one was like either in the 600s or 700s and is now well over like $1,200 at least by now. So which is doing really good, so definitely something to look into. But is it profitable? That that's, in the end of the day, that's the main thing we all care about, is are we making money from these AntMiners, because they are quite a hefty investment of our own money that we work very hard for. So we're going to be comparing multiple ways you can make money through these. First option is just mining Bitcoin. Second option is mining Bitcoin Cash, and the third option, it's more of just of a comparison, is it better than Hashflare, which is a cloud mining service? And I'll show you guys which one is the most profitable in the very end, and then come to your own conclusion which is right for you. So to continue from where we were, I just have some calculations that I have already done for you guys to look at. So the first one is for Bitcoin mining, and we're going to be using the hardware cost of $345 for all of these calculations, simply because I think most people are going to choose to have 5 order quantity, just simply because it ships in March, and it also is less of investment for most people. And realistically, if you're really serious about getting into mining, more than likely you're probably just going to steer towards a S9, because they're far more efficient anyways. So which is why I think, in general, I think smaller miners and people who are just getting into cryptocurrency mining, something like the V9 might be a good option. So let's just look into it. So we have it calculated right now. Pool fee set to 1. Power cost is just 0.1 right now. That's because that's how much I pay for electricity, and it does consume a bit of power. That's pretty high up there. That's pretty close to something like an S9, but you're only getting around 1/3 of the hashing power, so that's something to consider. And we're looking at a days to break even right now of 211. This is definitely on the higher end of the spectrum with all things considered right now in the current market that we're in. This is getting pretty close to 2/3 of a year, if not it is already 2/3 of a year. And for such a risky investment, something like this, I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing you can probably put your money towards, because this is a very long ROI, and there's no telling where Bitcoin or any of these other cryptocurrencies are going to be going and how that will affect the market and mining as a whole. This very well could become much less, but it also could shoot up very high if we see something like the Bitcoin difficulty go too high, or the Bitcoin's value just go way too low to the point of where mining is just not really profitable, or it's just at least not worth it for people who are just there to make money. Obviously, the people who mine just because they enjoy it as a hobby or something like that, they'll keep mining. But for most people, we're here to make money, and that's what matters. So with that said, we're looking at making roughly a little under $600 a year in profit. And again, this can change due to Bitcoin's price, but for the most part, it's looking at around 0.12 Bitcoin a year. I would say this is going to be dramatically less because of the Bitcoin difficulty. So the second option we have is Bitcoin mining if you were to do something like Hashflare. Now, Hashflare again is one of those cloud mining services in which you can invest your own Bitcoin into, and then they'll do all the mining for you. The convenience is you don't have to have the actual mining hardware in your house. They do it all remotely and you get the profits from it. Of course, they have to take a percentage from it for their paying for electricity and other maintenance fees, so that is something you have to take into account, which I did put in the calculations. All you really just gotta do is consider, is this something right for me or not? And it's not for everybody. But anyways, we're looking at around $880 for 4 terahashes for Hashflare, compared to, again, what Bitmain is offering, it can get as low as $290 for a V9 at 4 terahashes. But for most people, I think they're going to do that $345 option because this ships sooner. So that's something to remember. And again, you have to order 5 units to actually even have a purchase in general. More likely will come out to be like $1,500, something like that. A little over, maybe like $1,600, $1,700. For the equivalent amount of mining power, we're looking at around over $4,000 on Hashflare, and I would say that's a big investment. When you're getting to thousands of dollars, things get pretty serious, and I would be very concerned if I wasn't making a profit or anything like on Hashflare, because that is such a big investment. For the most part, I've had no problems with Hashflare. Obviously, they've been paying. Told people multiple times it's not a scam. It actually does work and everything. Now, it's not per se Hashflare's fault if Bitcoin difficulty gets too high or anything like that. These are external factors that they can't control. The only thing they can control is how much they want to price their contracts. That's really all they can do. Anyways, to continue on, last thing I want to show you is Bitcoin Cash mining. So this is an alternative option if you're not really sold on doing Bitcoin mining, but you'd rather do Bitcoin Cash. Reason being you might want to do Bitcoin Cash is if you're someone who feels you missed out on Bitcoin's run up this year. This could be a second shot at doing it, because Bitcoin Cash is what Bitcoin was last year at around $1,000, and that's where Bitcoin Cash is right now. It's very possible that Bitcoin Cash could do the same thing that Bitcoin did. More than likely, I don't see it happening, at least right now, but it could happen in the future. So anyone who is interested in Bitcoin Cash mining, here's what you would look at. So the days to break even are even higher. This is about a year, but again, this is something you have to look in for to a long term. You would really want to look into Bitcoin Cash for long-term holdings. Obviously, again, the market is down right now, so these days to break even are higher. But even with that said, these numbers are still very high, so that's something to consider. But we're looking at around $364 in profit and a pretty good amount of Bitcoin Cash token at 0.78. So whereas in Bitcoin we were only seeing about 0.1 something, which wasn't very good. But of course, both these numbers will probably lower as both their difficulties go up higher and higher. I've noticed that Bitcoin Cash's difficulty does not go up as quickly as Bitcoin, but I would suspect if more people start mining Bitcoin Cash, the same effect will happen, and we will see these numbers go down further and further. But if the price of it keeps going up with the difficulty, you should still make a profit, and in the end of the day, that's all that really matters, is we're making profit if that's what you're here to do. A V9 sounds pretty similar to an S7 on paper, as S7's mining around that same range. It's in the 4 terahash range, a little bit higher than the V9, and I think it's using a little bit more power, which obviously makes sense because you're getting a higher hash rate. But we're still looking at the market hasn't completely adjusted to these V9 prices. I would suspect that the market will start to come down in ASIC pricing, just simply because the V9 looks very competitive. Some people will buy these units at $290, and they will probably flip it on eBay. Though I don't think most people are going to be willing to pay $1,300 for a V9 or anything like that, because they know how cheap they are. As of right now, I don't see problems with supply and demand, because for the most part, if you can't get a V9, you can get an S7. So I think the market should have plenty of ASIC miners for people to get their hands on. So I'm not too worried about that, which is good for most people who are interested in ASIC mining, because I personally think that the ASIC market will be very easy to get into. Now granted, the S9 is still superior to all these ASICs in general. It is the best ASIC miner on the market right now for Bitcoin mining. Things will change eventually. There will be new competitors, I'm sure, and I'm sure Bitmain will release a new ASIC as well. But as of right now, the S9, if you can get it for a good price, that's the best ASIC to go for. But if you aren't looking to invest as much money, or if you're looking for a business opportunity to maybe flip these, there is a possibility you could be making some money. For the most part, you have a bunch of options that you can do: hash flare mining at home, or selling them online and trying to flip them. But in the end, are these ASICs profitable? Yes, they are profitable, but that is assuming the market will correct itself in a positive manner. We're going to start seeing the Bitcoin price to keep going up. Same with Bitcoin Cash if you're going to do Bitcoin Cash mining. And that's assuming that the difficulty doesn't get too outrageous. But at this rate, it is climbing quite high. So it is a little bit risky, but as of right now, yes, it is profitable. But we'll really have to see once these ship out, because things can change by the time it's March or April and May. The market could be totally different. We don't even know. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to be profitable. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like this video, make sure to like it and share it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.